Hi everyone, and welcome back to this episode of the Stitch Sessions. And as you can probably tell, I have decided to create my crochet office here for the summer, and I am here on the family farm that I grew up on in Binbrook, Ontario. So for those of you that don't know where Binbrook, Ontario is, it's just a little township outside of the city of Hamilton. In fact, I think now it's all part of the greater Hamilton area, but I just love coming here in the summertime and enjoying the beautiful weather and sitting under this glorious tree and enjoying some great crochet time out in the countryside. So we're here today, and you probably have noticed that I am wearing my Beachy Glamour top, which was June's crochet project for our Life's a Beach series. And in that tutorial, I talked about also being able to create straps for your top if you wish to. And so that's what we're going to work on in today's tutorial, is creating straps for this top. But what's really extra cool about this project is that it's going to be a design that's reversible. So you can actually create the straps to go frontwards or backwards, as I'm calling it. So as you can see here, I am wearing it with a V type of structure going to the center of the top and across the back, and when you turn around it looks like it's a two-strap top, but when you face the front it looks like a halter strap top. Now if I want to, I can actually wear this in the reverse fashion, where I can wear the two straps in the front, so it just looks like it's a typical strapped tank top, but when you turn around to face the back, you've got this really neat little V strap ending. And I've added these little extra glamour buttons just to kind of elevate the piece a little bit. And this is so easy to do. I think most of you are just going to die laughing when you see how easy this is to create. And again, you can create this with your top, or you can create this as an add-on. And that's what I decided to do, because I like to have the options of sometimes wearing it as a strapless peplum top, or to wear it with straps. And depending on your mood, depending on the occasion, you can switch around this garment in any fashion you like. So now, before we head inside to work on this quick little tutorial, I want to remind you guys that if you like these types of videos, please do give me a thumbs up. So what that does is it shows me that you guys are really liking this type of content, and it also helps YouTube know that you like it, and therefore will show you more of this type of stuff. It also lets me know that I should keep creating this type of stuff, because it's the types of things that you guys like to see. So make sure you do that, and if you know anyone who you think will find this useful, please share it. And don't forget to press that subscribe button, because this way you'll always be able to know every time I upload a new video every Wednesday morning. A lot of times I throw up a crochet quick chat on a Sunday afternoon, so you'll always stay in the know. Now let's get all of our materials together and let's get stitching up our glamour top straps. Okay, so to make my straps, I just made sure I had a little bit leftover yarn from the summer nights. And I also am using, as an accent, this Peyton's Grace mercerized cotton. And it's just simply because when I did the first strap, I wasn't really sure if I had enough. And I also thought that having that accent color would bring out the white in the elastics here, so it just made for a nice contrast. So that's the yarn you're going to need for this, okay? And then you're also going to need some buttons. Now, of course, because this is the glamour top, I made sure to get some glamorous bejeweled buttons. Now, I found these at Michael's. There's also quite a bit of variety on Amazon as well. And in fact, I did order some. I don't know where I put them. But then I came across these and I just really liked how they looked. But you can find stuff like this at Walmart or any of your other craft stores. So I'm going to need 3 buttons for my glamour top. But of course, they usually come in sets of 2. So I've got 4 here. And in case you're wondering, these buttons are 22 millimeters or 7/8 of an inch. And that is specifically what I needed because of the buttonholes we're going to create. So these are 22 millimeter buttons. So if you're looking for them on Amazon, for example, that's the sizing you want to find. I would also recommend you having a thread needle on hand so that you can then sew in your buttons, right? Because the darning needle might not necessarily go through that hole there. You can still use the, I think the Lion brand yarn. It's still thin enough, but you might also want to have a little bit of regular thread to sew your button in. As always, make sure you have your pair of scissors and a darning needle to sew in your ends. And then for this, I am going to be using a 3.75 millimeter hook, which is also known as an F or a size 5. So it's a fairly thin hook. And the hook I'm using is a 4 millimeter hook, also known as a G or a size 6. I have also done this with a 3.75 millimeter hook, and that will come in handy when we are using the blue yarns. So just stay tuned for that. These are the 2 hooks I'm using. And of course, make sure that you've got your Glamour top on hand so that you can affix your buttons and figure out how long you're going to need your straps to be. So you want to keep that on hand. It also doesn't hurt to have a measuring tape, which of course I don't have on me at the moment, but a measuring tape so that you can take the measurement of how long you want your strap to be. Now, as you can see, I've already done one of the straps already, and I basically took the measurement from my sternum, so that's that bone just between your the pectoral area there, and I stretched it all the way to the back. So remember, the back or the front, okay, one of the sides is going to get 2 buttons, and one of the sides is going to get 1 in the center. So you want to make sure that you take a measurement from the center one to the side button of the other side. So on one side you'll get that V halter neck look, and on the other side you'll get the 2 strap look. So that's the main thing you want to do. If you don't have a handy measuring tape on hand, you can just simply figure out your measurements with by chaining up your foundation chain and then measure from there. You can kind of put it over your shoulders or the person you're doing it on, and you'll know how many chains you need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about my measurement. And actually, I have a ruler here. Let me see if this will. So mine is sitting at about, probably 17 inches. Whoops, this ruler is 16, and it's just a little bit off the edge there. So it's about 17 inches or approximately 42 centimeters in length. Remember, there's also a little tiny bit of stretch. There's not much stretch in this, but there is a little bit. So let's get started. We're going to start with our white yarn first. Okay, so we're going to start with our white yarn, and I am going to start with my 4 millimeter hook. And I'm going to place a slip knot on my hook to begin. And for my strap, I am going to chain up a chain of 70 stitches. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and chain up 70. Okay, once you have your 70 chains, your work will look something like this. Just make sure it's not twisted. Now remember, you may need more chains. If you are a tight crocheter, or if you just need more length, then you may need more chains than I have. So just keep that in mind, but the design will be the same. So now we're going to create our first row of our strap. So you're going to chain an additional 1. And now what we're going to do is we're going to find the second chain from the hook. You never count the loop on the hook. So we have 1 and 2. And into that chain, you're simply just going to place a single crochet. Okay, and then into the next stitch, you're going to do the exact same thing. And that's all you're going to do for row 1. Okay, So one single crochet into each stitch until the end. And at the end of row 1, you will still have 70 stitches. Okay, once you have done a single crochet into each stitch, you're going to have something that looks like that. And again, you don't want it to be too tight. You don't want it to be too loose either. Okay, at the end of the row, we are now going to create our first buttonhole or button loop. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 7 chains. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, again, you may need a little bit more or less depending on the size of your button. So for me, I know 7 works well. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn my work. So these are the tops of my stitches here. I'm going to turn my work, and now I'm going to work back along that initial chain, foundation chain, which is right there. So in a way, we're going to be working in the round. So we're going to just simply find the bottom of that stitch, which is right there. So you're working now along the bottom of your work. And you're going to insert your hook, and you are going to place a single crochet. And that is what secures your first button loop. So you have something that looks like that. Okay? And now you're just going to proceed to go along the bottom here and place one single crochet into each chain stitch along the bottom. And as you can see, I'm working over my tail there. And nice and easy. Okay, so I've now come around the bottom, and my strap is looking a little bit more has a little bit more sustenance. There's my first button loop. And now I'm going to create my second button loop at the very end. So I'm going to chain 7 again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now I'm just going to come around the bottom, which is actually the original first stitch. And I'm just going to slip stitch into that. Okay, just like that. And now I'm going to snip my yarn. And I'm just going to fasten off. Okay. And my strap is pretty much done. So I've got my arm loops here, my buttonholes or my button loops there. Now, if you wanted to, you could keep it exactly like this, just have it white as an accent, or for any detachable strap, you can make just like this. But we're going to now add that blue accent so that we have that nice little matching detail there to the top. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our thinner yarn here, our Summer Nights, and we are going to place a slip knot on our hook. Now I am picking up my 3.75 millimeter hook for this one because the yarn is slightly thinner. And I'm going to place a slip knot on my hook here. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up my strap. And I can see that's where I ended off here. So I'm going to start right from there. It's just going to give me a nice little starting point. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this pretty little trim. The very same thing I did at the very bottom when I did that trim there, just like that. See how it creates those pretty little peaks? So that's the very similar idea that we're going to do here. So into that very first stitch right there, we're going to insert our hook. And we're going to slip stitch to join. Just like that. Okay. I'm going to try to work over these tails as well. If you have a hard time, just leave the tails to the end. Okay. So now I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to go back into that same stitch and place a single crochet. And this is where it's just going to deviate a little differently from the bottom trim of the top. I used to do 2 single crochets, chain 2 single crochets. In this case, we're just going to do 1 single crochet. We're then going to chain 2, and right back into that same stitch, we're going to place a single crochet. Just like that. You can't see it very well just yet, but it creates that little peak there. And that's what we're going to do into every single stitch all the way down. So now I'm just going to move over into the next stitch, insert my hook, place a single crochet. I'm going to chain 2 and single crochet again back into that same stitch. Now, even though this is a smaller hook, I am really trying to be diligent to not crochet tightly. I do want this to sit nice and loosely, and it does create a little bit of, you can see it naturally wants to curl a little bit. That is totally okay. We want it to look a little bit on the ruffly side. Okay, so I'll do that one more time. Into the next stitch, insert your hook, single crochet, then chain 2, 1 and 2, and back into that same stitch, you'll single crochet. Okay, so now you can see the little peaks are starting to form. Really easy, right? So continue doing that all the way down, and we're going to continue that into all of the chains of the loops, but I'll meet you here just to take you through that first loop once you get here. Okay, so I've come to the end of my row here. So my peaks are looking like that. And of course your work will curl. That's totally normal. Now I realize that I did a little bit of a boo-boo at the very beginning. Because I only did the little blue trim on one side, I should have actually started with the chain loops and then continued down. But no worries. I am just going to go ahead and show you how to continue from here. And you would work the same idea on the other side. So once I finish doing this one with you, I'm just going to snip my yarn and I'm going to come back here and I'm just going to do that in the loop. And it's the same thing. It's just if you do it at the very beginning and loop around and then you can continue on, it just would make things a lot easier. Okay, and I just have enough yarn left. So, whoops, my single crochet came out here. So just done my chain 2 and inserted my single crochet. And I'm simply just going to continue doing what I was doing in the chain loops here. So I'm going to go into that first chain, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. So, you know, pretty straightforward, but sometimes people get a little nervous going around that little bend there. So you find the next stitch, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Okay, so you're going to do that all the way around till you get to that 7th stitch. Okay, so I have come around here all the 7 stitches. So my work is looking just like that. And now I just want to come back around to the beginning just to really close off that loop with the blue color. So I'm also going to go into this little loop here and I'm just going to go underneath. And I'm going to single crochet just like I've been doing. Chain 2 and single crochet. Okay, so what that does is that just really kind of ties in that nice blue and white. I just love that. And now I'm just going to find a loop here and I'm just going to slip stitch to join. Chain 1 and I'm going to snip my yarn. And you're pretty much done. Okay. So, whoops, that's the front there. So that's what it looks like. So you've got that blue trim that's going around the white, and of course you're going to sew in, weave in your end. And then I like to just, where did I put my button? There we go. I just like to take one of my buttons and I like to test it out. I like to kind of be able to slip it through. You don't want it to be super easy, but you don't want it to be difficult either, because remember, you want this to sit nice and snug. So see, it would sit just like that, and it came through just fine. Okay, now my job, because I didn't do this at the beginning, is I have to go back on this end and just finish off the trim on this loop, and then my strap is complete. So you would then repeat this whole process a second time so that you then have 2 straps. So you see how the blue and the white kind of go together, creating this nice little accent, so that when you've got your top, see, the white really picks up the white from there, and it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then what I recommend you guys do in the meantime is find the spot where you want to sew on your buttons. Okay, so remember, one side is going to get 2, okay, 2 buttons, and one side is going to get 1. So as you can see, the back of this here, it's just like a single loop. Now what I recommend you doing here is take the measurement of the length and divide it by 4. Okay, so whatever your measurement is, you're going to find your halfway point on your top. Sorry guys, I can't seem to zoom out here. So you're going to divide your measurement by 4. So half of your measurement is in the center. So when you're doing the center button, that's where you're going to place it. Now to do the side that has the 2 buttons, you want to take this measurement and cut it in half again. So half of your half would be a quarter. So that's where I would put 1 button. And then I would do the same thing for the other side. So that's where I would put 2 buttons. So on the front, I would go a quarter of the way in each. And on the other side, or the back, or whatever you call the front, you want to place your button right in the halfway point. And as you can see, I am aiming more towards that little band of single crochet section, because of course we don't want to interfere with the elastic. So anywhere along here, you might want yours a little higher up or further down. Remember, if you go further down, that's going to affect how long your strap should be. So I would recommend staying somewhere kind of a little bit closer to the top. So I'm going to finish doing my trim here. I'm also going to sew on my buttons, and that's what you're going to do too. And then I'm going to meet up with you when we are attaching our straps, and we will be good to go with our glamour top. Okay guys, this is exactly how much yarn I have left over. I'm so excited. So it just goes to show you that 1 skein of that Summer Nights yarn by Lion Brand is enough for this top for the length that I like. So it worked out perfectly, and it gave me enough for some straps. So here we go. I just finished the second strap, and I have since sewn on my buttons here, so you can see I've already kind of been experimenting with one of them. Now the thing with the straps is, you know, anytime you make 2 of something, there, for whatever reason in crochet, it never exactly works out perfectly to a T. So it's just, it is what it is. So you're just going to have to get used to the fact that one of your straps may be sitting a little bit tighter than the other, depending on your gauge as you crochet. So it's not the end of the world. So that may be something, if yours aren't perfectly exact, don't worry about it. It's just the way it is. Okay, so here is my button. So I'm gonna loop this through here. Okay, so you can see I have the other one here. So that's the side that has the 2. Now I'm gonna turn this over and make sure that it's not twisted. As you can see, I've already put 1 in, and this one's going to go around the same one as the other one. And that's what I love about this design, is it now makes the top reversible, and you can wear it in 2 different ways. Okay. Okay, there we go. So the front is a halter, and the other front has typical 2 straps. So there you go, guys. Your Beach Glamour top is now fully complete. You can wear it with your straps or without. I hope you found this tutorial really quick and cute and very useful. You can actually create these kind of straps for any top, but I'm very happy with the way this came out on the Beach Glamour top. So you can see it just sits beautifully across the front, the same as it is around the back. So if you have any further questions, guys, please do feel free to leave me a question in the comment box down below. Or as always, you know I tell you this in every video, you can email me directly at info@crochetcrafty.com, and I'm more than happy to help you out with any further questions. And don't forget, if you're not subscribed already, make sure you do so. Make sure you press that like button if you like these types of projects, and that helps me know the types of tutorials you like, and I will then make more of them. And if you feel that this video would be helpful to anyone else you may know, please do feel free to share it. It's absolutely free, and why not get more people on the crochet bandwagon? So for now, guys, I'm going to leave you there. As always, I hope you have an amazing day. Happy crocheting. Take good care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next session. Bye-bye.